All right,
Good
welcome, Miss. Good moment.
good moment, Anna. How are you doing?
I'm good. So we are now on to I guess the UCC New Year, starting off another annual cycle. And well, with this particular calendrical system. And so we are gonna dive into that. So what so sh tell me what you're showing us here.
All right, yeah, thanks, Anna. So this is the UCC, the Universal Celestial Calendar app, which will go on your phone or your desktop or whatever. And what we're showing here is the tropical zodiac here with all the signs, Aries, Taurus, Gemini, and it's New Year's Day in the UCC, which is the first full day after the Aries equinox. All
Yeah.
right. So yesterday was the Aries equinox, which was New Year's Eve. And then because on that day, the sun is moving from Pisces, tropical, into Aries. So it's not like spending a whole day in Pisces or Aries, but today it's fully in Aries. So it's
Okay.
like the first full day in Aries. So it's New Year's Day. As you can see here, it's Friday, 21st of March in the Smegorian. Um, and this date 10, basically, these are the 12 months in the calendar, which are named after the tropical zodiac signs, Aries, Taurus, Gemini. But we have to balance the zodiac and the year, we have five special days, these 1, 2, day 93, day 184, these days which celebrate Aries equinox, Cancer solstice, Libra equinox, Capricorn solstice. And we have this today is the special day for the new year. So
Okay.
it's a kind of festival time. But because we haven't fully started Aries yet,
Hmm.
in terms of these months here,
Yeah.
I call today it's basically a 1 day month called zero. All right.
Okay. That's what's going on.
So it's the first day of the month of zero, which is only 1 day. In leap years, it's 2 days. And you have the
Okay.
zero of zero and the first of zero.
So that's how
These are
you
the leap.
allocate for like the things not being perfectly an even number of days we go around every year.
Yeah, because we do 365 and almost a quarter rotations to
Hmm.
complete our orbit. We have to add up those quarter days roughly every 4 years and have an extra day. So what I do with that is I put an extra day in at the start and call it zero, and then it keeps all the numbers the same.
Okay. That
So
makes
like last year was a leap year in the UCC, so we had the first day was zero of zero. And then New Year's Day, so that's called Leap Year's Day. And
yeah.
then New Year's Day is called the first of zero. And then we go on to this special day to kind of celebrate the equinox. And that's called the Naught of Aries. And then we jump onto the wheel. And then that in here we'd have the first of Aries and so on.
Okay.
So yeah, that's all it is. So it's the year 13,526. This green line shows that since since the constellation Aries was all the
Hmm.
way back over here in the tropical month of Libra. So, and
That
we've
was
come since it's taken us 13,526 years to come up to where we are now.
okay.
And what this is the sidereal zodiac based on the divisions of the zodiac constellations into 12 equal 30-degree segments. All right.
Yeah.
So this keeps moving round and it takes 24,000 years to go all the way round. So we've gone past the middle and we're up here now. So
Okay.
don't confuse Aries the stars, the constellation, with Aries the tropical month. And I'm
Yeah.
going to show you that in a sec. But this tropical month, the month of Aries, is named after the constellation Aries,
Yeah.
which it sometimes aligns with. It only aligns for about 2,000 years, every 24,000. All right.
Yeah. So
So
it's
that's
only
all that is. So yeah, so it's New Year's Day, and that's that's why we're having this little chat again because what we're doing. These eight these eight arrows. These show the eightfold year, like the Celtic wheel of the year that we've talked about.
yeah.
And you can see down here today. So it's a festival time. It's the New Year Cardinal Festival of Aries as we're going into Aries, and that's why this little arrow is lit up.
Yeah.
Our first chat we had down here near Capricorn solstice when we talked about the New Year,
Yeah.
the New Year's revolution,
Yeah. That
and
was
then
been post solstice, I think, because it was
yeah, just
around
that.
the beginning of January.
Yes, right. Well, it was basically because it was Smegorian New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we were
From
talking about that. So
Gregorian, yeah.
we,
I was
ooh,
just going to say,
sorry.
yeah, we've moved from Gregorian New Year and now we're into the celestial New Year. And so whether you're in the north, the south, the east, the west, and because we're working with the astrological or the cardinal signs or whatever you call it, that's the beginning of the new year, no matter where you are, because we're not really talking about spring, summer. It's just yeah, because we move into Aries and everybody moves into Aries at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah, the whole planet moves into Aries, literally. Um, so yeah, now we had our second chat in the middle of Aquarius
Yeah.
for the around the Chinese New Year, and we talked about that. So that's when this little arrow would have been lit up.
Mm.
And now we're on the new year, and it's the start, as you can see, one, two, three. It's the start of the cycle
Yeah.
from Aries through to Pisces. So yeah, like you say, everyone up here in the north talks about the spring equinox and the vernal equinox, and these are all northern hemisphere terms. For you in the southern hemisphere, it's the autumn equinox, right? You've had your summer and you're going into autumn. So um, but we're doing the opposite, of course, because it's like a yin yang symbol.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, but yeah, wherever we are on the planet, it's the Aries equinox. And that's why I use that term because it's universal then, because we're all one.
Yeah, exactly. We're in the high or the low or the dark or the night or the flow of the up or the down, we're still all one. So,
Exactly. And um, yeah, I mean, Aries in the body is the head, and the signs go through the body to Pisces in the feet. So you always start with Aries, wherever you are. And yeah, so that's what this is showing. And if you go to ucc.zone
mm,
and follow the links, you can find this app and lots more. You can download a calendar and a year planner with all the moons on and everything. So yeah, I call it Hippie New Year. So Hippie New Year, everyone.
yeah.
Um, any more questions about that, or shall I stop sharing that now?
That's good. I think we're pretty covered. And you wanted to go
Yeah.
into the solarium with the sine wave of showing the pattern of the movement of the cycles. So,
Yeah, okay, let's do that. So let me share Stellarium, and I'll give you a quick whiz round. All right, so you should be able to see Stellarium now.
mhm.
How's that?
Yep, I can see it.
All right, so this is set to Lisbon, where I am, and you can see it's the 21st of March 25, and I just set it back just before sunrise, because obviously on the equinox, there's
Mm,
no tilt of the Earth towards or away from the sun. It's like perpendicular to the sun. So we're like side on, and this is why we have balance because we're not tilted. We're always tilted, but we're not tilted towards or away from the sun.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to show you if I put the ecliptic on here. So that's the ecliptic is the path of the sun in the sky
yeah.
through the year. So I'll just show you if I just run this on a little bit. you can see the sun coming up there, look.
Yeah.
So so if you notice, the sun rose exactly on this E, which is the east. Because
Yeah.
on the equinox, because we're balanced, the sun rises exactly due east and it'll set, if I run this on, it'll set exactly due west. It does that. Okay.
So wherever you are in the
So
world, it's rising due east and setting due west. Is that right?
yeah, and particularly obviously if you're on the equator, the sun's going to just be rising and going straight up over your head
And yeah.
till at midday. It's like directly 90 degrees above your head and then go back down again. All right. So, but yeah, let's just look at the sun for a minute.
Hmm.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to center the sun. All right.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to turn the sky off so we can see the stars. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift our sort of perspective so that we're rather than being level with the horizon like we are here of the earth, we're gonna line it up so that we level it up to the sun. All right. So I'm gonna do that, and then you can see the tilt of the earth, but it's side on. So you can see there the sun's over there. We're kind of tilted this way, yeah, over
Yeah.
to the right of my screen. But we're not tilted towards the sun or away from the sun.
I understand.
Yeah, so what I can do now, I can turn the earth off. All right.
Yeah.
Right, and so now we can just see the path of the sun. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to put what they call the ecliptic grid on, and the ecliptic grid basically is the tropical zodiac. And you can download this program for free on Linux and stuff. You might have to pay like a euro or a dollar or something on some other things, but you can download it for a really cheap and it's an amazing program. So let
Yeah.
me put this ecliptic grid on. Now this is the zodiac. Now if I put the equator on, so this blue line's the equator of the Earth projected out into the sky, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can see here the sun on its ecliptic path has just crossed the equator. So yesterday at 9 a.m. here, 10 p.m. for you, the sun would have been right on there. All right.
Yeah.
And it goes this way. And this grid is in 15-degree chunks. So this is 15 degrees and this is 15 degrees, right?
Yeah.
So two of these divisions is one sign. So this these two pits here, that's Aries. This is the tropical sign of Aries. It's a month,
Mm.
right? And then this one here is Taurus, and then the next one is Gemini. Now, if I run it on a little bit, you'll see that. Can you see this little Aries sign here?
Yeah, I can see that.
All right, so that is saying that's the Aries equinox point. So when the sun crosses the equator, rising north, it enters the month of Aries, which is this section here.
Yeah.
All right. So if I run it on again, the sun goes now when we get to here, we're like just 21st of April,
Mhm.
the day before, 20th of April, like the sun's gone into Taurus now. So if we center it, this was Aries, this is Taurus, this is Gemini. Now when we get to here, look, can you see this little Cancer symbol?
Yeah. That's our
So
solstice.
that's the Cancer. Sorry?
That's the Cancer solstice.
Exactly. That's showing that's where the sun will be on the Cancer solstice. And then the sun will be directly over the Tropic of Cancer.
Mm.
All right. And these divisions this way is how many degrees above or below the equator we are. So if you look here, look,
Hmm.
this is 10, 20, 23.5 degrees. So when the sun gets to there, it's going to be 23.5 degrees above the equator and at its highest point in the north, right? So so that's it. So this grid is the zodiac, the tropical zodiac, which the UCC follows, and it
Okay.
shows you why the UCC goes anti-clockwise like that, up and
Yeah.
down, because this is what the sun does. So let's follow the sun
Okay.
through the year. So I'll speed it on. I'm going to center the sun, so we follow it. There we go. Now we're going up through Gemini, up to Cancer. Now it's at now we're going through Cancer, and now Leo. Now we're going into Virgo, and if we stop here, you can see there's a little Libra sign here.
Hmm. For the next
So that's
equinox.
showing you that that's the Libra equinox.
Yeah.
And then the sun is over the equator again, and it's going to go down below the equator into your hemisphere. And then it's going to go through Libra, Scorpio, and so on. So
Hmm.
let's have a look at that. There we go. This is Libra. This is Scorpio, Sagittarius. Now, when we get here, okay, Mercury's in the way a bit there.
Hmm.
Um,
That's right.
yeah, but can you see the little Capricorn symbol?
Just. Yeah, I can see that.
Just,
So that,
just okay. So that's the Capricorn solstice. The sun's over the Tropic of Capricorn, and it's 10, 20, 23.5 degrees below the equator now, because of
mm,
that's the tilt of the Earth, yeah.
yeah.
So now it's in the middle of Capricorn, and if we run it on again, we're going to go through Aquarius now, and then Pisces, and then we get back to Aries. All right. So that's
Yeah.
it. And you
So
can
this is
see it
a,
go
yeah, I was just going to say this is a great program for sort of, I guess, getting a visual on the astrological movements and understandings. And then I guess you can see when the planets are moving direct or retrograde and all that sort of stuff to sort of understand the background, what's happening in the background of sort of the archetypal influences of the astrological signs and their meanings and the energies flowing sort of through the cosmos from the different planets.
exactly, exactly that. And it is fantastic for that. And it's very easy to use. And so just to finish this little section, let's run it at quite a high speed.
Okay.
And you'll see the sine wave. So that's what we're doing once a year. We're going above the equator, below the equator, above the equator, below. And you can see the sine wave, yeah?
Yeah.
So what all the tropical zodiac is, if we get back to Aries, uh let's get back to where we are now. Yeah, so when we get to where we are now, you can see what I'm going to do is zoom out.
Hmm.
So now we can this chunk here, that's that's the northern half of the zodiac.
Yeah.
And then if we kind of go like this chunk, this chunk here below
Hmm.
the equator, that's the southern half of the zodiac.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. So there you go. You can really see what's going on there with Stellarium. And yeah, I just wanted to show that because then any more questions about that, or shall I stop sharing that now?
I think I'm good for now. I
All right.
guess we were talking a little bit about it's Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde at the moment. I don't know, can you give us a little demonstration of what that looks like in here?
All
How
right.
and how people can sort of see that and understand it in this sort of visual aspect.
All right, let's see if we can. So what I've done now, I've put let's just take let's look at Venus, because on here right now, Venus and Mercury are sort of conjunct, look,
Mm,
because Mercury's with Venus here. Now what I've done is I've put the orbits.
mm.
Can you see the orbit of Venus there?
Yep, yeah, I can see that there. Yeah, because I mean, for myself, it's like you start learning about astrology and then you've got conjunction this or trine this and that sort of stuff. And it's hard to get a visual of that, but this really lays it out to sort of get a better understanding of what's really happening and it's not so theoretical.
Exactly, you can really see it. So here's the sun, and we're looking from the Earth, of course, and then we can see the orbit, this
Mm,
red line, the orbit going round the sun, and of course the planets also go anti-clockwise.
mm.
So now if we center Venus and we speed it on, see how Venus appears to be going backwards?
Yeah.
So that's because of our orientation, because all the planets go anti-clockwise, so Venus should be going this way, which it actually is, but because of where we are in relation to it, for us, it looks like it's going backwards. So that's what a retrograde is. But
Mm,
you'll see now, it'll get to a point where it reaches the end of its retrograde, and then it'll start going the other way again. So let me just speed that up. So we get to here now, look, see how it's going the other way now?
yeah.
So that when it reached the edge of that orbit there, that's when it would stop going retrograde. That would be called a stationary direct. And
Mm,
now it's going the normal way,
direct.
anti-clockwise. Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's Venus. So we can see that now Venus is going the right way. And you can see Mercury there spinning around.
Yeah.
So let's just go back to today, like right now.
Hmm.
Um, let's just get Mercury out from behind Venus. There's Mercury, right?
Yeah.
So now we're going to center on Mercury. So now we can see Mercury's orbit. Look how small Mercury's orbit is. It's a bit faint, but can you see that red line?
Yeah, I can see it.
Cool. So let's see what Mercury's doing. So let's speed it on and let's see how Mercury's going backwards. And then it reaches there and then it'll go forward again.
Mm,
All right. So let's do that again. This is today right now.
hmm.
So let's run it on. You'll see Mercury, it'll go backwards to here,
Hmm.
to the edge of its orbit, and then it'll go forwards again.
Yep, you
So
can
watch
go
that.
ahead.
Sorry, what?
I said, yes, you can go ahead. I get it.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So see, we're going retrograde, retrograde, retrograde. We reach the edge, and then we go forwards direct again. All right.
Hmm. So yeah, that's a great graphic and visualization of that sort of. And so it's interesting how, everything we sort of understand about the sky from I guess, the astrological principles of the meanings of whether Mercury's direct or retrograde and the influences that seem to have become sort of patterned in our existence. Um, yeah, it's good so it's like, they just observed what was going on in the sky and followed everything and, measured the passing of time and noticed what was going on at certain times and what would happen when a planet was direct or retrograde and perhaps at the time they would see it going backwards and maybe they thought it was going away and yeah, what level of real understanding people had at the time that they began to study these things and note them down and write them down would be interesting to know. But,
Yeah. Well, exactly. And my perspective is that the ancients knew had been measuring these cycles for thousands and thousands of years.
Mm.
So you know the great year we've talked about, and the UCC year numbers based on the great year.
Yeah.
Like that green line we had on the calendar app,
Yeah, I
that's
remember.
showing how, yeah. So, they noticed that when Mercury was going, it appeared to be going backwards from our perspective, that communications seemed to be a bit misunderstood, and
Mm.
maybe some mechanisms and things didn't seem to work as well as they normally did. And of course, it's not for us to say, "Oh, well, I'm sorry you misunderstood me, but Mercury's retrograde. It's not my fault." It's not about that. It's about saying, "Hey, sorry, Mercury's retrograde. Can we take that into account and like not judge each other if we say something wrong, or and we work with the energy rather than using it as an excuse."
Yeah, that's really important. So, what is your feeling about this particular energy of this particular equinox right now that we've been going through?
Yeah, well, it's a powerful one. I mean, I always do a little ceremony. So I lit a red candle last night for the end of 13,525, which was a leap year, and I mark leap years red. And
Okay.
then I blew that one out and I lit the white one for this year, and then I blew the red one out because yeah, that's a symbolic way of going with the energies, which we've already got let me just stop sharing this for a
Okay.
sec. Yeah, I mean, we've already got the energy of the sun crossing the equator, and the special energy we get around a balance day, and going from water into fire, and from a mutable energy to a cardinal energy, an active up and let's get on with things energy. But also we got Mercury retrograde and Venus retrograde, and
And don't
then
forget the
we've
eclipses we just had, an eclipse we just had.
exactly. So this equinox is in between a lunar eclipse we just had on the full moon and a
Mm.
solar on the 7th of Aries, 29th of March,
Yeah.
which is the new moon. So that's like the first new moon in Aries, and that's really the lunar tropical zodiac cycle beginning.
Mm.
Yeah, on the first new moon of the zodiac year.
Yeah.
So that's an eclipse of the sun. The full moon is eclipse of the moon. So yeah, this equinox is right in between those two events, as you say. And the energy of a new moon solar eclipse, because it's a new moon, that's going to last for 6 months till that new moon in Aries is a full moon in Aries when the sun is in your sign of Libra, right? So
Yeah.
we've got all that going on, as you say, eclipse energy. And then we've got the North Node has
Mm.
been in Pisces. Pam Gregory's been calling this the Pisces pileup because we had so many things in Pisces all at once. Um, and we've got Saturn and Neptune, conjunct in, and then we've got some of those outer planets moving from water and earth signs into fire and air signs. And that's a big shift. And because the outer planets move so slowly, that's a more rare event, which
Yeah.
this particularly an outer planet, it'll only do this once in our lifetime,
Yeah.
because they take so long. So yeah, lots of energy, lots of good energy to work with. Yeah.
It sounds good. All right. Well, do you think you have anything more to add for today's conversation? Should we?
I'm just going to make the loop. I'm going to just loop back to this because if you saw on Stellarium, we saw the sun going up
Mm.
and down, and then it was going this way, right?
Yeah.
So the sine wave was going like this, and then down there and up there. So all we've done is we've taken that bit and we've wrapped it around onto the bottom of here, like this, and
Yeah.
make a circle, yeah? And that's why it's showing it like this. And that's why the app goes this way, um, from right to left and anti-clockwise. And interestingly, that's how all the oldest written languages go, like Arabic and Hebrew and stuff, right?
Mm.
They write from right to left. So they're actually writing the way that things go in the sky. So I just wanted to make that link between what we saw in reality represented in Stellarium, in
Mm.
the stars and in the sky, with the app, which is trying to represent that on a 2D model. Okay.
Yeah.
And the good thing with the app is you can animate it. I can do it now because I'm sharing,
Oh, okay.
but you can animate that and then you'll see the sun going through the zodiac on the app like we saw it going through the ecliptic grid on Stellarium. All right. So I just wanted to say that really.
Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes, well, that's wonderful.
And also I've released a new song today.
Oh, yay. Exciting.
Yeah. And it's called Going Around in Circles. So so I released it today especially for New Year's Day in the Zodiac and the UCC. And that's on SoundCloud and Bandcamp at the moment. And on the Aries New Moon, it's going to be on Spotify and YouTube and all the other
Excellent.
platforms. So you can get that on my music website, projectfreemanmusic.net. But yeah, we can share a link for that as well.
Yeah,
When
I'll
we
put
put
a
the
link.
video out, we'll put a link in there. And what plans have you got for New Year's Day?
Well, I'm pretty much a New Year's evening, and so I might do a short little meditation. My energy is a little bit low for this particular New Year. It's not
Yeah,
quite.
me
It's
too,
been
actually.
a challenging little equinox eclipse period. So it feels like we're sort of a little bit under the fires. So a good time to maybe just let some things burn up for transmutation, I think, for getting heading towards that new moon. So I think we could just do a little bit of a focus for that for yeah, celebrating the end of one year and the start of a new one.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've been ill recently as well. Still recovering. So I'm like you, I'm taking things easy. And what you just said about the year change, one of the good things in the UCC today, we've got a whole page in the calendar just for today. You
Hmm.
know, it's a special day. It's not part of any month or deacon cycle or anything. So it's a great day to look back over the last 12 months
Mm.
and look forward to the 12 zodiac months coming. That's what I'm going to be doing. Yeah, and you know, you can light a candle and you can write down and burn anything from the old year that you want to let go of. Um, you know, and let that go and then put that candle out and light your new candle for your new year. You know, that's what I did last night.
I
So yeah,
love
you
it.
know, whatever turns you on, baby.
Yeah, that's exciting. All right. Well, happy calendrical, well, no, astrological. See, brain's a little slow this evening. So yeah, happy new year or new day. And
Yeah,
yeah, I
Happy New
guess
Year, Anna.
thank
And yeah, it's been great chatting again and look forward to maybe we do another one in the middle of Taurus, you know, in the middle of the first quarter,
sounds
which
good.
would be middle of spring for us, middle of autumn for you.
Yep, that makes sense. We'll keep marking all of these little astrological new years and see what
Yeah,
flows.
cool.
All right.
Yeah,
Well,
well, thanks for your time. Good to see you and yeah, have a great year.
you too.
Ciao.